Welcome to another English lesson. Today we'll learn how to talk about past events in a clear and organized way. We're going to use the past simple sequence markers like first, then, and finally, and connectors like and but because. Let's get started. Let's look at some vocabulary you can use to talk about past events and free time activities. Went to the beach, went hiking, traveled abroad, visited a museum, went to the movies, watched a concert, played soccer, joined a competition, attended a birthday party, stayed at a hotel, rode a bike, swam in a lake, cooked a special meal, danced at a party, painted a mural, had a picnic, camped in the woods, explored a new city. You can choose any of these when you tell your own story later. To describe past events, we use the past simple. Let's read some examples together. I went to a concert last Saturday. She played tennis with her cousins. We visited a science museum in July. He traveled to Oaxaca and ate empanadas. Notice that we use the verb in its past form, regular or irregular. To tell a story in the correct order, use sequence markers. These words help the listener follow your ideas. First, I packed my bag. Second, we took a bus to the city. Third, we visited an aquarium. Later, we had lunch near the park. Then, I bought souvenirs. Finally, we returned home. Try using at least three of these when you describe your event. Now, let's review some important connectors to link your sentences and to add ideas. We swam in the river and took pictures, but to contrast, I liked the movie, but my friend didn't. Or to offer options, we could go hiking or take a boat ride. Also, to add extra, I visited a museum. I also saw a play because to give reasons, we stayed inside because it rained. Using connectors will make your stories more interesting and natural. Let's look at an example of a personal past event, a day at the beach. First, we arrived at the beach at 10 a.m. Second, I swam in the sea and played volleyball. Later, we had a picnic near the rocks. Then we walked along the shore, but it started to rain. Finally, we returned home tired but happy. Notice the use of sequence markers and connectors to organize the story. Now, here's an example about someone else. My cousin's trip to the mountains. First, my cousin packed her backpack. Second, she took a bus to the national park. Then she hiked for 3 hours and took photos of the forest. Later, she saw a deer and recorded a video. Finally, she went back to the camp because it was getting dark. Again, this story is well organized using the past tense plus connectors. Great work today. Let's recap what we've learned. You practiced using the past simple. You organized ideas using first, then, later, finally. You linked ideas with and but or also because. Now you can describe past events more clearly and fluently. Before we finish, what happened last weekend? Try writing about it or telling someone your story in English. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lesson. Bye bye.